everyone, it's Rita with Everything Homemade, and we are going to make a delicious split pea soup. This has got to be one of my favorites. It's simple, it's absolutely filling, it's a good hearty meal, but jam-packed with nutrition. So I can't wait to show you that. Recently I made a Facebook group called Homemade Homesteading Mastery, and this group is where I really want to get more involved with you, so I can post, you can post, and we can communicate better with each other, share pictures and videos of what's happening on the homestead, and my ultimate goal is to learn from each other. You can also head to our website, everything-homemade.com. There you can find my cookbooks that I've written. You can find the sourdough cookbook that's on pre-order, getting ready to release soon. So with all that being said, everything's in the description box. Check all the links out there, and let's get making some delicious split pea soup. Okay, so the very first thing you want to do is grab an 8-cup measuring cup or a bowl that can hold at least 8 cups, preferably 10 cups. That way you're not filling the water right to the brim. I love my 8-cup measuring cups because they have a lid already and it's just convenient. What you want to do is have 4 cups of split peas. I have green split peas today. You can definitely use yellow if you have them. Pour that into your measuring cup. And you can see it had a little bit of dust on it. No big deal, because at this stage we're going to be soaking these overnight, so all that will be cleaned off in the morning. So what you want to do is fill this up full with cold water, because this is really important for them to get a really good soak overnight or 24 hours in advance. And so then they're ready to be used tomorrow. So I just take my finger, those little stragglers, just get them mixed up just like that, and then place the lid on it, and you are done. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so the split peas are nicely soaked, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over some of the ingredients, as I'm in the middle of winter here, so I'm using ingredients that I have in cold storage. So my split pea soup is going to be a little different than me making it in the summer, just because I have the garden, I have everything fresh. Well, right now I'm using my stores. As I go through the ingredients, I'm just going to mention some things that maybe you would have that I don't have that I would put in here. But soup is dynamic. Like, when I make soup, I kind of open up my fridge and go, what do I have in here to make this soup out of? And I use what I got. So my broth may change because I might not have chicken, I might have beef, or I might have deer broth. It just totally depends on what I got and what is available to me at that moment. Some things will stay the same, but some things will differ. And that's the beauty of soup, is that I kind of just clean up my fridge and make it. So let's go through the ingredients, and then we're gonna put this soup all together. Okay, you can kind of see my spread here, but let's start with the pot. This is almost 2 gallons, just shy of 2 gallons. So that's the size of pot I'm going to be using. So let's set that aside for just a moment. In here, I made chicken the other night, and so I have all this delicious chicken broth. So I'm going to be using this as my broth. I'm also, in the fridge, I have some sausage juice. So we make sausage every week, or homemade deer sausage, and there's always this delicious juice that comes out, and I always save it because it really tastes good in soup. It adds that smokiness, the pork flavor. Now, we don't eat pork just for personal reasons, but this is what I like to add in because it really tastes like I fried bacon in there. What else we got? Onions. We're going to be using 2 large onions. You can use yellow or you can use white, doesn't matter. I have some garlic here. We're going to be using 2 of these bulbs. These are right from the garden that we saved from the garden. It is now almost mid-February, so they're holding really good. Nice, beautiful garlic. I'm going to be using 2 cups of dried carrots from our garden. If you don't have dried carrots, just chop up 4 cups of fresh carrots. Just dice them up. I'm going to be using some bean mix here. These are dried beans. It doesn't look like much now, but it does double in size. So if you want to put beans in, use 4 cups. If you have celery, use 4 cups. I don't have celery, so I'm using my beans. It just adds a lot of beautiful flavor. You can use celery instead. Use 4 cups fresh celery or 2 cups of dried. I've also got some wonderful salt here. This is red mint sea salt, full of minerals, so I'm going to be using some of that. This is my secret weapon in making all these flavors come together, and it's called cumin right here. Cumin is a spice that really brings out that smokiness, and I have ground some here. I'm going to put equivalent about 2 tablespoons in, give or take a little bit. And what I like to do is use the whole seeds, grind them up so it's right fresh. And this really, if you don't eat pork or want that bacon, smoky flavor, and let's say you don't have this beautiful sausage juice, use cumin. And I'm going to be using both, so I really have this depth of flavor. And it is my secret ingredient to get that beautiful ham smoky flavor in any of my soups. And of course, we have, let me just move this over a little bit, the peas right here. So here are the soaked peas, and you can tell how much they have bulked up, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so let's put this soup all together. The very first thing we need to do is strain the water out of these peas. And this water is really good for plants, so I'm actually going to strain them right into my bowl here and really save that liquid, because that liquid, oh, it's perfect fertilizer for your plant, so don't throw it out. Okay, so that looks good. Just get most of it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my split peas right into my pot. And the next thing I'm going to do is just fire in my carrots and my beans. Remember, if you're not doing the dried, put in the fresh in here. You might be asking at this point why I dry my vegetables. Is because of the intense flavor and how easy it is to store. So we dry all these because I can lock in my garden freshness, and it makes the most delicious soups ever because the flavor is so intense and the garden flavor really comes through, and I don't got to worry about mold or things sprouting on me. That's why I do dried. Okay, now let's add some of this in. This delicious sausage juice. This has been in the fridge, so any fat that had set up, I took it off. What else do we need here? We need that cumin. And we need some salt, a couple of tablespoons. Okay, now let's just set this aside and start chopping up some onions and garlic. Now with the onions, I don't have to chop them up perfectly because guess what? We are going to be blending up this soup at the end, so I'm just going to do a quick rough chop. So now what we want to do is just, again, roughly chop these up. Okay, time for the broth. So what I like to do is I'm just gonna pour this broth right over, and the little bit of chicken fat that's on top is actually perfect flavoring. So I'm just gonna pour it until it basically covers it. You know, you might need about, well, I probably put in here at least a gallon of broth in here. So let's just add a little bit more. There we go. Perfect, so that's looking really good. So now that I have all of this, now it's time to cook it up. Okay, we're going to place the lid on it. There we go, and we are going to get this to a boil and then simmer it for about an hour. As you can see, we've reached a boil and there's some of this foam, and I'm going to ladle it off. It's just some impurities. So let's do that. There, that's looking better. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do from here is put on the lid, keep it at a steady simmer for 1 hour. Oh, beautiful. You notice how well everything is cooked. Look at the difference. Beautiful. So this is done. So the last step, it's blending it all nice and smooth, so we got that really beautiful split pea soup consistency. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my blender and I'm going to transfer it, blend it, put it in the bowl here, and when I'm all done, I'm going to transfer it back into the pot. Now you can definitely use a hand wand blender and do this. I just prefer using my blender as it gets it so beautifully smooth, and there's almost creamy, rich smoothness. So I'm going to take the extra step and do that. Now, as you can see, this soup is really, really thick. Look at that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it like this, but then when supper time comes around, I'm going to take some of it out of the pot and add a little bit of beef broth. I have some beef broth in the fridge, and I'll thin it out just a little bit, but it's such a beautiful soup. So nice and thick, thin it out to whatever consistency you want. Serve it with cheese, some milk over, or cream, or whatever you like, but this is such a hearty, delicious soup. And this makes a lot of soup, so you can even freeze it. You can can this now for backup for when you want soup. I love to freeze a little bit of extra in just in case I want to have a quick meal just in yogurt containers. So let's just take a scoop here. And without adding, you know, any extra broth to thin it down a little bit, let's just take a taste. It's so flavorful. You got that garden. It's like eating the garden in your bowl. It is so good. Because of all those dried vegetables, it enhances the flavor so much. So, like I said, I'll just add a little bit of broth in here. Thin it down just a little bit because we do like our pea soup to be a bit thicker. Like when I scoop it, I don't want it just to run off the spoon. I want some soup. And sprinkle it with a little cheese. And you know what else will be really good with this is my sourdough biscuits. So I'll link that video at the end here, and it'll be in the description box too. Make that, dip it in there, eat it. Oh, absolutely delicious. And this is a really, really hearty soup. So enjoy it. Leave a comment if you try it. And remember, head to the website, everything-homemade.com. Definitely sign up for the Homemade Homesteading Mastery group on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you and see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video.